Oh no, Oktapus and Friends, baby.
Here we are, back at Red 13 Studios,
Back in this mother.
Framingham, Massachusetts, and talking about songwriting today, right?
Yeah.
Songwriting 101.
Songwriting.
We're going to take you down a magical journey of songwriting.
Yeah. Well, all right. That's funny you say it. Well, I'll start like this. When I'm in a songwriting session, to me, it actually is magical, and I'll tell you why. If you're doing it right, like fucking, I guess, no, you connect in such a weird way that it's crazy. Like if you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
you're literally
energy.
finishing someone's sentence, or you're like vibrating all fucked up. Everything about it is super cool, and
That vibe.
it is kind of magic. And that's the reason I like to make music. It's the reason I like to play music, for that alone. Because obviously no one's fucking cheering anymore, so you got to find another reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it definitely feels good when you have that connection and you could just seamlessly, like you said, finish somebody else's thoughts or come in and the best songs are always written within
Seconds,
yeah. minutes. You know, like
Right. Super
at least the
core.
foundation of it. You know, obviously there's more elements to get it to where it's a radio hit, but the meat and potatoes of that song, when it just comes out and it just flows, that's the best feeling ever.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's like a high.
Yeah,
It's definitely a high, and I think most of us usually do it when we're high. So, like, it sounds like jokes and shit, but like when you're vibrating at that high level, just because maybe you had a few drinks or whatever, and all of a sudden everybody in the room's trying to accomplish something, and all of a sudden you're on that wave of creativity. All of a sudden, like someone comes up with the hook. All of a sudden, like these things start stacking, and everybody gets jacked up. And that is, to me, there's two things about it. That's why these solo hip hop kids become so huge, because they're like, confidence builds and builds and builds, and it just gets massive. But the other big thing about that is, like, you're taking ideas you would never get from other people. You're actually taking ideas that people would never get without you in the room. And I know that you guys have that kind of rule. Like, if you're in the room, you're part of the tune thing,
Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways it happens. Or it's just that something happens in your life that you go into your room and a song pours out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, I think it's definitely that, all, like you said, all the good stuff just happens naturally because there's a reason for it, and it's when you're kind of battling against like the thing, nothing's coming out, and your guys are really struggling to get it done. It's like, just put it down for, the day or whatever, and
Or
pick it back up
forever.
again.
Yeah, or forever. That's
Forever.
something to
Fuck
really know.
that
Maybe
thing.
it is forever, right?
Yeah, no, sometimes you just got to put the dog down, fuck that thing, because otherwise you're going to just keep hitting your head up against it, and you're wasting time when you could just pivot and get it. And obviously once you get to that next potential next flow of creativity and it moves, then the other one was bullshit, and you realize that immediately. You know what I mean? It's like very obvious. Like, why the fuck did we waste 3 days trying to write a hook for that, and then we spend 5 minutes on this one and we got a hook in 5 seconds.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's what I was getting at. Like, just stop the writing for the day, come back in and try again tomorrow. Not on the same idea. Like, start a new idea.
Yeah,
for
100%. Yeah, we just did that recently. It happens, and there's multiple ways too that you can go into like writing a song. It, like he said, like it could be your own, you sitting there, with a guitar, or with Pro Tools, MIDI, Logic, whatever you're gonna do, or it's just a hook or whatever. It just kind of comes out. Or you're working with the whole team, and it moves like what you're saying, Jim. So it's like both of those elements I think are great. And I personally enjoy writing with a good crew, a good team. So it's like a lot of people, whatever works, whatever gets the job done.
Oh, definitely. But you got to be open-minded and smart enough to capture it when it's time. I don't know about you guys, but I do shitty voice notes, and I go into my notes on my phone and I write
voice memos.
Like, someone could say something fucked up to me or funny or whatever it is, but if it's a unique saying, man, I got lists in my phone that are so long of crazy shit that if anyone ever opened to be like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Yeah. Shit like that, yeah.
Yeah, I remember one time I was driving and like the windshield wipers were just hitting it in such a nice beat. I was like, okay, I got something going on here in my head right now. And there's just voice memos
That's
of like,
almost a curse.
It's like almost like the scary like voice memos you never want to show anyone.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you're like,
that's what I'm saying. They're garbage. They're bad,
They're all
man.
coming and they're like,
but when you can like take that and get it to a place to show someone, but it's like always like you're like sound like you're dying, like a dying banshee in the car.
Yeah, a moronic whisper into your phone.
But it's dope that you get that inspiration and you can record it right there, and you don't have to, like, you know what I mean, forget about it and whatnot. You pull out your phone, friggin' record that idea.
I remember being really excited when
Technology.
when
It's
Apple launched the update that you could search your voice memos, because it used to be that you couldn't. They never had like a search bar in that voice memo thing, so it's like, oh my god, I got to go search for this thing I recorded fucking 2 years ago to try to see if I can pull a song out of it.
Right.
But
It's so funny you
That
say
was a
that.
cool
I
update.
literally,
Well, yeah, the one
I'll
thing
go
that
through
you
to
have to
delete
do-
them, so nobody in the future, like my kids are like, what the
you-
fuck's wrong with
After
Dad?
you die.
Yeah.
Well, the thing too is, on Sean's point, you got to be able to title them.
Yeah, you get a label.
Because if you don't
Mine will
label
say
them-
home 1,
yeah,
2, 3.
yeah,
4,
wherever the
5.
fucking location
Yeah.
is, I'm like,
all right,
oh,
I'll go
shit.
through them and just listen. I'm like,
Sucks.
oh, that idea, that was cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow,
I've
what
gone-
the fuck did I
I've
think
gone
of that?
through and been like, oh shit, that was a good idea. Fucking, I got to come back to that.
Dead
There's like
Dog
ton-
Foo Fighters. Like, it sounds like Dead Dog meets Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Hook. Here's the idea. Write it down.
Yeah, there's tons of that. But there's yeah, and I think there's a lot of cool ways to start. Like, you always do a method when we're going into a write with a songwriter that, maybe hasn't done a lot of writing before, of just like, go ahead and just free write, take whatever it is, 5 minutes, and just free write, words, phrases, fucking whatever.
Right, whatever's on your mind.
Yeah, it's like a brain dump.
Right. Dump all the words out.
Doesn't
get
have to
them out.
rime, doesn't mean
They don't
shit,
have to
just-
be
doesn't
put
even have to
together.
be words. It could just be feelings or whatever.
Right.
And that's been a really cool, effective way to get a feeling out of a singer or vocalist that's maybe not as experienced or not coming in with any kind of ideas, or even just with us, if everyone's like, what the fuck are we going to write about? It's, I like doing it with a goal in mind, you know what I mean? A theme in mind, so that it's not just like throwing random shit against the wall and seeing what happens. You guys are kind of going into it with an emotion, and I think that's a really good way getting started on at least a top line side.
Yeah.
I've seen you be effective doing that. It's interesting. That's not for me, but it's definitely smart. I definitely believe that that's a smart way
Yeah,
to write.
well,
Gives
sometimes
guidance.
in a more experienced right,
Coaching
people
way.
are coming in with like, hey, let's write about this thing that I feel passionate about, or hey, I just went through a bad breakup and
Right.
I need to get this out, or something like that. You know what I mean? But if there's really like, if everyone's kind of sitting there like, well, what are we writing about? It's a good, it's a really good approach to get a theme that and get ideas on paper that you can start pulling from and kind of form an emotion, because I think that's what it really comes down to. You got to find a way to connect on whatever it is you're writing about in some way, whether it's a party song or it's deep, dark, emotional
Yeah.
thing.
That's a fact. If you're writing about something you're not feeling, you're wasting everyone's time. It's just bullshit.
Yeah,
Like complete bullshit.
It really is.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, also too, it all comes down to the type of song too. Like, if you're trying to write, are you trying to write a pop tune? Are you trying to write a heavy metal tune? Are you trying to write a fucking score to a movie? I mean, there's different approaches
So many
across
elements, yeah.
all of it. So there's different, techniques and things that you pull inspiration from. But I think, mostly what we're always trying to do, when we go into writes or who we're working with, it's always relatively, we're trying to write a hit song, whether it's in pop format, rock format, hip hop format. That's the goal here,
All right. So say what is the impetus? What is the little thing that sparks a tune for you? Because I said earlier, like a carpenter could be working away and say some funny old shit that maybe his grandfather said, and to me that's just so weird. And I'll have a song like brewing in my head because of some old limerick or something. I don't even
Right.
know. Like, it doesn't even matter. But that almost always works for me. The only other way I write a song is I'll sit with a guitar and I'll just hit a note. It could be a simple note or a chord, and I'll be like, whoa, what the hell was that? And I'll hear the whole thing, or the rough idea of it. That's how I do it. I mean, is that common? I don't know.
I think it really can be sparked by anything. It could be, cool chord progression, or you could have a hook melody in mind and build music around that. You know what I mean? I think there's really no rhyme or reason to the way it starts. But once you get in the flow, then it starts to kind of take shape.
Yep.
Yeah, what makes a good song? Who's the subjective master of that idea? You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? I think it's you can't personally decide whether it's good or not. You know what I mean?
I actually think that I can. if
So
the
does
universe
everybody.
came to me and said, "You are now master of what song sucks,"
You
I'd
know,
be like,
but,
"You picked the right guy." You know?
And
So
there's,
many
and
elements,
there's
though.
people that get paid all kinds of money that miss fucking 9 times out of 10.
All the time. I'm just kidding. That's a fact. A&R guys are born to fail. Like they pick way worse than like
because
baseball players.
You are literally at the mercy of getting whatever this thing you put your best foot forward. You get as many people that say that one's dope as you can, but until it's been battle tested in front of 1 million people, you really can't decide that.
Yeah, and timing goes into it too.
Quality,
Timing,
too.
quality. There's a lot of elements for that song to resonate.
There really is. A hit song is not just the song. I feel like it's what artist is doing it, who's the team behind it, who's pushing it. There's a lot of stuff that goes into behind the scenes, taking a great song that then pushes it to a hit. There's great songs that never became hits, and there's bad songs that did become hits.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's I think a lot to do with everything lining up behind it, because a great song with unknown artists might never escalate to that scale, but you put that same song on Ariana Grande, and now it might be a worldwide smash.
Yeah,
you
but
know
that
what I
song
mean?
was probably never bad to begin with, regardless of who did it. That's kind of what I'm saying.
No, but
it
that's
just
what
didn't
I'm-
have the audience.
that's what I'm
You
saying.
wanted to give it that runway.
You want to hear a great story? You guys might have seen this, but in that Metallica movie, Some Kind of Monster, Lars has his father, who's like this Norwegian tennis champ or some shit. He's an old, looks like a wise man, like mad long beard, and he's just. So anyways, Lars is playing for this track for him in the studio, and it's banging loud, and he's sitting there stroking his beard, and he's all cool, and the song gets over, and Lars says to him, "What do you think?" And he's like, "If it were up to me, I'd delete it." And I thought, you're fucking right, dude. That's good. You have someone in your team that's not bullshitting you, because that song sucked,
Right.
Nice.
But that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Very cool.
No, it is. And so I think what it is you're kind of putting the song on a conveyor belt. And if it's starting at the bottom, it has a lot more steps to get through to get to the top than if you're putting it in the fucking middle, or putting it already one step to the edge. It just needs a little thing to push it over. So
Maybe it's not the song then. Maybe it's the person who's fucking with the song.
No, I
they
think-
don't have the understanding,
No. I think no. I'm saying assume all things equal. Assume this song is a hit. It could still not be a hit if it still has to go through a gauntlet of all these things to get in front of enough people. You know what I mean?
Yep.
When
No,
you
for
started, when you started at a certain point of even a great song could take a mid-level artist to becoming now a household name. That same song might only take an unknown artist to being a couple steps more forward in their career. So I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into that as well that needs to happen to get that song to a massive mainstream smash,
Yeah. No, 100%. But the question was, what makes a song good? Not what makes a hit song.
True. Yeah.
So, but to me, and I would love to hear you guys' opinions. I'm not even bullshitting. To me, the greatest song ever written so far is "Happy Birthday." I'm dead fucking serious. How are you going to beat it? Every language knows it. It's like a Coca-Cola logo. No matter where you go in the globe, they get it, So beat "Happy Birthday."
Yeah, you say that all the time.
Yeah, but it's a
tough
fucking
one.
fact, dude. That's a great
Yeah.
song.
It's like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, right?
There's another good one, but I don't
Yeah.
know if it's as big,
I don't know.
worldwide.
You know
we'll, have
what's
to
making hits?
we'll have to Google that.
TikTok.
Yeah,
TikTok is blowing songs up.
yeah, breaking.
Oh,
breaking
that's
songs
different
up
though.
to
Those
Crazy
songs,
shit,
but those
too.
songs won't be huge in the future. They just won't. Sorry,
I don't know. Yeah,
They
you
won't.
never
They
know.
won't. I do know. I'm sure of any. No, it's not.
Well, you know what, too, is there's things that when you're writing a song, there's always elements that I always have to focus on, in regards to getting that song finished to a completion point where it's okay, this is a fucking song. And there's certain elements of that. And, obviously it's getting to the chorus, sooner than later is always a plus. I mean, was it Dave Grohl? don't bore us, give us the chorus,
get to the chorus. Yeah.
You know, it's true. The opening line is very important of a song too. Sets the tone and kind of puts you into like where you're at, what the song is. And it doesn't even need to be, it's not a summary of what the song is, but it just sets the tone and puts you in that environment. Okay, like this is where we are. So that's an important piece as well. Those are like the two things that I'm always focused on. And then also just, you know, making sure that you can make every element of that song a hook. You know, whether it's the verse, whether it's the pre-chorus, the chorus, like all of it should be a hook. Like every element. I mean, the Beatles did it. Like
they really did.
They crushed that element of it. You know, and being able to reproduce something like that, or at least make sure that every element is, you know, remember it has, you know, the
like a memorable factor to it.
But also an easily sing along. Like you want to be able to sing each one of those parts the next time they come around after the first listen.
Well,
and they put parts in that you don't even
already know.
play.
You're like, oh.
You sing the parts.
Well,
like,
the other thing is hooks don't necessarily even have to be the vocals. You know what I mean? There could be something that, you know, is just like a
EDM
that
songs.
happens every time in the middle of lines in the verse that you just in the car go you know what I mean?
You're talking about this song we listened to 200 times last night.
Oh, which one?
What we were calling stripper pole, but that had that little hook that just my God, I was singing and singing. I'm like,
it's just cool. So one of our producer engineers here at Red 13, Dom, made this beat for hip hop artists that we work with, The Real Leo, and it's got this cool little flute thing that's inside of it that it's just that flute part, regardless of whatever happens on top of that beat, that flute part will find its way into your brain and it will stay there and it will haunt you in your nightmares.
And you make
and
your
you
own
will
words.
wake up singing it in the shower. It's that kind of thing. So that's, you know what I mean? That's an example of something that is a hook that has nothing to do with the vocal on the top line, but you'll remember that song because of that little thing, you know?
If you can get the music to be a hook before you even put a lyric on it, oh shit, you're on your way, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, for
I
real.
think that's huge.
Sometimes though, that makes it actually very hard to put a hook on top of it. For instance,
Because you're stepping on the music.
Well, we recently had a song that we were writing for an Atlantic Records pitch that was, you know, potentially going to be for
Why Don't We?
Why Don't We?
That one?
Yeah. And that was tough to write to because it had a hook over the chorus already with an instrument like a almost like a talk box voice. And it was hard. I mean, we got something down. It was really cool.
Was the hook any good?
That we put down?
No, that they put there for you kind of.
Yeah, I mean, they thought so. The A&R, you know, the head A&R over at Atlantic was like, this is a hit. I want to release this thing. We need a top line around it. And they were having trouble putting top lines around it. Like, who else was it that one? Bruno Mars tried to put one around it, or it was like tons of Atlantic Records submitted stuff, I was told. And he just kept saying no, because it was tough to write to, you know, and
then it wasn't a hit.
Well, I think what you do is you know, what I always thought was it's already established that the people at the label like that hook, so just write lyrics and melodies to that hook that's already existing on there, you know? Sometimes it's okay to match whatever that instrument's doing.
Right.
yeah,
I mean, look, the Chainsmokers do that all the time.
yeah, they crushed that.
They do.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, here's the little melody, and we're going to sing exactly that melody, and then after we're done singing it, you're going to hear it on something else, and then all you're going to hear is that melody for the rest of your day.
Theory of a Dead Man does that too in the rock world.
Yeah. I mean, that was Nirvana too. Every guitar solo was either the verse
melody,
or the chorus melody.
Yeah. So what came first?
And then Weezer fucking stole that whole approach, and that was the same kind of idea with on every Weezer song. The solo was either the verse or the chorus.
Yeah, but I wonder if the verse, I mean, that hook was created with the instrument first, and then the vocals.
It's a good question. I think it was probably the vocals first,
Probably,
but
right, yeah.
I bet Nirvana
know.
was the
I feel
guitar
like
first. I bet you it was.
I can see coming up with a dope melody, and then you're like, and you're just spitting out words in that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then something
but you
stitches
could have
together, and you're like, oh,
you could
shit,
have any
all
one
right.
of those processes, and it works. That's the whole thing about
That's what's sick.
songwriting.
There's
There's
Well, somebody's process is better, like the Beatles or Michael Jackson or Bruno Mars or
Definitely.
Nirvana.
Well, you know what?
Their process is better somehow.
I mean, if you want to come down to it, it always just kind of usually goes, there's an intro, verse, chorus, something,
Bridge, chorus out.
maybe another chorus out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I do every time. I'm not kidding. I have no time for doing shit outside that unless I'm jamming with the band and some kind of weird magic happens.
I mean,
Intro,
lately
verse,
with the thing I've seen in pop is it's like a verse, a pre-chorus that's like a hook in itself, a hook, verse, pre-chorus, hook, just the whatever the pre is again done in a little bit different way, chorus out, and that's kind of been the winning formula on, at least for top 40 pop radio.
Yeah, I hear that.
Or in the hip hop game, it seems like it's verse hook done.
Yeah. Well, you know who changes it up and ends up setting the tone in regards to arrangement, I feel like, on top 40 every time he comes out with a record. He hasn't done it in a while, but Kanye always kind of changed the arrangement game up. That's one of the things that I've always loved about what he does, because there's a million things that he does when it comes to the music game and changing it. But his approach to, arrangements is always like, fuck you, I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah, he does what he wants.
Yeah.
Like that piano song or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's just fucking hitting that one note forever, and then he changes it. You're just like, wait, what the fuck? That's a great song.
That one's a great song, but that one does kind of just fall in a regular flow of things when you look at it.
Once it gets into it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the verse, pre-chorus, chorus. Well, it starts with the chorus.
But then that ending, yeah, it's just a mad long song too, I think.
Yeah. But no, he definitely does, change the game, and he's someone that can do it. Not a lot of people can get away with it. People certainly try, but there's only certain people that can get away with it. And I think it's, I think it has to do a little bit with that star power that he's built up, that he's like, I can do whatever the fuck I want now.
Well,
Tool does that too.
I was going to say Tool earlier, but I don't like their shit.
Me neither, but they do it.
Kanye can do whatever he wants because he always does whatever he wants.
That's
his
artsy
brand.
approach.
Yeah, that's his brand. He doesn't give a fuck.
But at the beginning, it was a little bit more
Fall in
tame,
line.
fall in line.
Yeah.
And so, but that's what I think, that's what people don't realize sometimes, is you want to do what you want from the start, but that's not going to get you to the place that you can do what you want.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Play ball a little bit.
Play ball a little bit.
For me, that's Dr. Dre. I fucking love his productions. They're unbelievable. They sound simple. That to me is that. Like, he does his little things where he might put a break here and there, especially NWA shit, but I'm talking like
The
post
Chronic.
NW. The Chronic is
Well,
incredible.
you want to know
Such a
something
great
that I
album.
listened to over the weekend for the first time in a long time, given what you're saying, was the Slim Shady fucking
Yeah, it's awesome.
nice.
unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
Like, I
record.
forgot how fucking awesome that record was, like with the skits, and it was just
Yeah,
so
all that.
badass. Like,
Yeah.
he was like, and the shit he's saying, like, he didn't give a fuck. He could get, so Kenny. That's what brought me to it, because I was doing that to Tara, and she was like, "What the fuck is Kenny Kniff?" And I was like, "Hold on."
Oh my
and so
God.
and it was awesome. Like, I'm like, this fucking record is so good.
really
that
was.
shit can't come out now. You
Oh,
know?
no way.
Unfortunately.
Not
This
even,
is
Well,
weird.
someone's
This is
gonna do it. and
not
get
even
everyone to
Eminem
hate
would
him.
come
Yeah.
out.
Okay,
Someone will do
that
it
would be huge.
It'll be awesome. Yeah.
Eminem
does
was
it?
the last person that I ever bought all of his records on the day it came out. I haven't in years, but
Right.
like his first 4 records I bought on the day it came out. I haven't done.
That was
I've
a
never
big
done
thing,
that.
though. That was cool.
You know? Yeah.
No,
That
we
was
used to
fun.
like wait outside and shit, and lines
know.
camp out for records.
those days are
Like,
awesome.
I know.
I know.
What the fuck?
I know. The supply is just so readily available
Oh yeah,
now.
it's on your phone.
Boom, here it is.
Every Friday I get a whole.
Oh, and
fucking
sometimes I get it
brick.
before because it got leaked. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You know?
yeah, but I
Fucking
remember
spoiled
there's
motherfuckers.
like I think it's a John Mayer quote of, the first thing you want to do is hook them, and then you want to keep them, and then you can break them. You know what I mean? And I think kind of that's what a lot of the, look like this, like that Ed Sheeran record that came out when he, had all the features of
All
everyone
the
that was
different
just
styles.
completely
Yeah,
all over the
that was
place.
crazy.
But if he tried to do that as, this is my first offering to the world, people would have been like, I don't know what the fuck you are. And
Yeah,
it
he would have been fucked.
And
for
it
real, yeah.
confuses me, and so I don't like confusing. I'm out.
But there's two sides to that, because there is the innovators that come out and they do something that's completely different, and it works because it was so different.
But it's all that. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, it's all that. It's not all over the place. It's innovative, but it's all innovative contained inside of itself.
yeah,
John Mayer actually did that. John Mayer came out, everybody is one land. But what he is a nasty fucking guitar player disguised as like a cutesy little pop dude.
Yeah, but he played that little pop game.
He did until the second he was like, I'm in the door, fuck him.
Exactly.
That's what he did, yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. That's awesome, by the way. I love that.
Yeah, and it's I agree. You can't come out on an innovative level, but it can't be that, hey, I play country, but I also play polka, but I'm also doing rock songs too.
Yeah, but I think you can come out innovative and then start moving towards a more mainstream once you capture that hardcore audience. Because I always like to go back to like
hardcore
Korn
bands and
like,
shit.
Well, Korn did it. Korn did it best. They came out with that first record and it had this shitty sound to it that was so fucking different. The way the bass tones in it, everything was like totally different.
All of it, yeah.
The emotion of it, the lyric like component, it was just different. And it was like when you heard it, you were like, "What is this?"
It's sick.
But it was sick.
Yeah.
And then
not on paper. It should have been deleted.
Yeah,
it should have.
no
for
shit.
real.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
it's awesome.
But
Yeah.
then they transitioned as they got more popular, and the major labels came in, and then you have Freak on a Leash and Got the Life that are more refined, that are more produced, that are radio hits, structured.
Yeah.
But it still had that feeling of who they were, but it was refined,
sound.
and now they were
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, even on those first records, it's like, okay, this is something I've never heard, but now every time I hear it, it's Korn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you could identify it. It's identifiable. So it wasn't. It's like, oh wow, this is blowing my mind, but I'm not confused by it because it's all this.
Yeah. The worst is when a new artist is like, I'm gonna put out a pop song, then I'm gonna put out a country song, then I'm gonna put out a blues song. It's like,
what are you?
What the fuck are you doing? Because I'm
Who
confused.
cares what you are?
And now I don't care anymore.
No,
you know what I mean?
Confused. You're not confused.
They're confused, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
you gotta
move on.
You gotta build an initial thing. You know what I mean? You gotta to some degree come up in a lane.
Yeah, and if you
it could be in between two lanes, as long as you fucking just ride in that line and stay in there, and then you could fucking and then you hit a certain point and you can do whatever the fuck you want because you are big enough to do it.
But even throughout that, if you just because you can write a pop song and write a country song doesn't mean it has to be within that project. That's the big thing that a lot of artists and writers don't realize. It's like that song should go to someone else.
Yeah.
Go or store it for that later time that Sean's talking
Now
about.
you're fucking with someone's ego.
Dude, they can't handle
ego
that.
cannot
It's
be.
like, give that fucking song to someone else that can bring
You don't
that
have any
song to
friends
life.
that
Well,
this is for?
I mean that's something to touch on too. Some of the biggest artists, started as songwriters that they couldn't get their chance in the light, so they just said, "All right, cool, I'm gonna write, and it'll happen for me." And that's Lady Gaga. No one would buy into
Julia Michaels, right?
Julia Michaels
is the shit. She's on everything.
Bruno Mars.
Yeah. All these people were like, no. Even Kanye.
Yeah, Kanye, Travis Scott.
All the biggest artists. They were, people couldn't buy in, but then at the point, it's like, okay, will you buy in now that I have hits with all these people? They're like, yeah, you know what? I guess it makes sense.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, the songwriting game, man, is on just a songwriting level. I think a lot of people don't realize that there's a difference between, and you could be all of them, but there's songwriters, there's artists, there's producers, and engineers, and there's so many elements that go into actually creating the finished product. But just because you're an independent artist and you feel like, listen, this is my thing, I'm going to completely write it, I'm going to produce it, I'm going to put it out as the artist. It's like, no, like you don't have to do that. If you're not strong at songwriting, bring in some other writers with you, because it's going to make the end product a lot stronger. Like, I think a lot of artists don't understand that too, because they don't understand the culture at the higher level, where there's 4 or 5 people sometimes in a writing room getting that hit song together. And then the artist goes and performs it, and that's okay. You don't have to do it all. That's an ego thing sometimes.
Of course.
Everybody,
play it off like it's.
Some people can do it though.
Shit,
some people.
My favorite artists are the ones that everything, the artwork comes here, the songs come here, everything, and they're just able to, boom, like Michael Jackson or whatever. But
it's about knowing when you're that person and also being able to know when you're not that person. And and a lot of people can't
just know you're probably not that person.
A lot of people can't let themselves not be that person.
Yeah.
Well, they're the worst, by the way. They just are.
Well, that's a thing that I always talk about is like in LA, it's kind of weird like that. In Nashville, it's totally open, and
Oh, yeah.
they're all collaborating. Everyone's writing together.
All the country writers, they're all writing songs for each other.
It's
and they're all
amazing.
making mad money, fucking writing hits for each other.
It's awesome.
It's a good community.
I love that
collab.
vibe.
That's
Yeah, it's
important.
sick.
You're right. That's like the comedy scene in LA before this bullshit. Everybody is liking each other, all helping each other, all exploding. Everybody's becoming successful. And then you go to LA and you want to write with someone. The dude will literally put his back so you can't see what he's doing. And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is
Why
going
you
on
being
here,
weird?
dude?
Yeah,
Stop being
This is
weird.
my hook.
Yeah, right.
Make sure we annotate that. So you
Yeah.
tell my manager I get 40% and you get fucking
Yeah.
10
Well-
and that guy get...
Well, that's a good conversation point too. Like, when you are like how the different ways of cutting up that pie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's different mindsets on that throughout the industry, and like depending on where you are, kind of there's rules of thumb. Like in Nashville, it's the write a word, get a third kind of mentality of everyone that's in that room is gonna get an equal share, whether you did anything or not. But chances are, if you didn't do anything, you're not coming back to the room.
Right.
But there's all kinds of different ways to split it. Even there's like what I've heard is on a Bono situation and U2 that they'll split everything right down the middle despite who did what on anything. So there's kind of...
I think if you're a band, I think you got to do that shit.
It's for longevity.
It's for longevity, or you'll be hated. Could you imagine showing up at the gig in a Rolls Royce and then your
other
bass
guys have a
player's got a fucking Volvo?
Yeah, Volvo. I always say that. That's
Yeah.
so true. It's
One
like
member
terrible.
got up their
I'm
whole
not into
tour
that
bus
shit.
themselves, and then the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
guys are in
Yeah.
one all
It
jammed
won't
in.
We all
last.
know some people like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
it doesn't last. You know?
Or
Shitty culture.
Or
for a
it's
band.
it's like you're not a band. You're a guy who's the main guy
Yeah,
with
and hiring.
with
Which is fine.
with
That's
hired
fine.
guns, which is fine.
Yeah.
Haley Williams, Paramore.
Pretty much.
That's pretty much what
Yeah.
she's turned into. And that's why, to be honest, I'm not really a fan of the new stuff that she's doing. I
Well,
think
she let those guys write the songs with her, though.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And-
They're still a part of it. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, and when they're not, you can fucking tell.
right.
Because I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean it's change. It's you gotta kind of keep reinventing yourself and evolve. You can't keep doing the same thing forever. But where they evolve to is makes me sad because I don't like it.
Yeah.
That sucks. Why don't we talk a little bit? We don't have a lot of time left, but when we talk a little bit about like a little bit more technical on maybe some process or something on how to get your stuff solid and
Yeah, I mean I think it's okay to don't be scared to go look at the way somebody else did it. You know what I mean? Don't be scared to let that influence how you're gonna have the song go. You know what I mean? It's okay to learn from the people that are doing it and getting it to the level that you want to be at. Also, don't be scared to take that information, absorb it, and make changes to that based on your taste too. You know what I mean? And I think, that's kind of where, the starting point that I came from is I was just like, okay, let me just verbatim do this a few times, when I was just starting to write songs, like, let me do this, like literally verbatim, like in the way that they did it, just so I can understand.
I still do that. I really do. I do.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's like if there's something like, oh wow, that was super dope how they did that.
Just do your version of it, right?
Yeah, do your version of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't steal shit. Don't
Yeah,
completely
well,
rip someone
maybe
off.
not.
You got to do your. You got to.
Well, there's a difference between ripping someone off and taking little bits of inspiration.
influenced,
Right.
you know what I
Being
mean?
influenced,
Because
yeah.
everyone's influenced.
Yeah, everybody is.
You can't say it's.
Feel like an artist.
It's like the best guitar players are always like a reincarnation of someone that came before them.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of that idea.
So let me ask you something. Let's just say that you today write the greatest song you or anyone else, the fucking Bill and Ted's Save the Universe song, right? What is the next thing you do? Like literally, what is like? Do you tell me what you would do? Like you're gonna register this? What is the next like couple things you would do?
Well, yeah. So, everyone should be registered with a PRO. If you're going to be a songwriter, that's, step number one is go to BMI.com or go to ASCAP.com. They literally do the same thing. Just go see which go to each website and see which one you like better. Right. You know what I mean?
We prefer BMI just because we have direct contacts over there and it makes our life easier.
And it's free, right? For artists?
Yeah, it's free.
It's free. So ASCAP.
As a writer.
I think ASCAP costs $50 to sign up as a writer. But it's also cheaper to sign up as a publisher with ASCAP. Whereas BMI, it's free to sign up as a writer, but a little bit more expensive to sign up as a publisher. But there's, they're in one hand out the other. You know what I mean? It's the same thing essentially, but you should be registered with one of them because that's what's going to track your performance royalties on that end. Of if a song gets played in a venue live. Or if a song gets played on the radio, or a song gets played on
like at a bar,
jukebox, or even
or a television show,
airport,
or internet radio, or YouTube, they're going to pull in the performance royalty for the songwriting on that record. And then equally important is just so you don't have to think about it, there's all this other stuff you have to register for. That if you just sign up with a publishing admin, that there's Songtrust. There's if you distribute through CD Baby, you can opt in there. If you do with TuneCore, they're partnered with Centric Music, you can opt in there. That'll register you with Harry Fox, Music Reports. Those collect what's called the mechanical royalty, which is now for every unit sale. There's 9.1 cents that goes to the songwriters. That's the mechanical royalty in the United States.
How many streams is that again?
That's 150 streams is 1 unit.
1 unit for a song.
And then
1,500 is what
is one album.
One album.
Yeah. And so
bullshit.
Yeah, and so Spotify, Apple,
Crazy.
they all send all the digital streaming send that directly to Harry Fox. I think SoundCloud goes to Music Reports, but if you're not registered to collect that on the mechanical side, that's coming out of, like, if you're an independent artist putting out a song that you totally wrote, that's not coming into your sales. So that's automatically coming out before it even comes to you. So that's the publishing admin will make sure you're with all foreign rights societies. They'll make sure you're with, they'll even take care of your publishing with BMI or ASCAP. You still have to sign up, but they'll help process that, and they'll make sure you're registered with all the mechanical societies as well.
Yeah,
so,
and a lot of them too do handle the YouTube collections as well.
Yeah, and so that's you should wherever you're distributing, usually you can opt into that, where you could go sign up for a third-party company, but if you're, as an independent artist, it's so much easier just to say yes to everything in that one channel, let it come to you, and then, when things progress to a bigger level, then maybe there's other opportunities to get with, bigger publishing admins, even publishing deals and everything like that.
And it's easy to get out of those, so don't be worried. I think that's another piece too, because I remember when I was registered with those, I was always concerned, like, oh, am I stuck here? It's very easy to get out of them.
Yeah, no, those are usually month-to-month situations.
Songtrust is a year, and then after that it's month-to-month, so you just be aware of those. But given, as an independent artist, if your first couple releases, it's okay. Like, you're going to be in the fucking trenches for more than a year, so don't worry about that element.
Right.
And those problems are way worse than if you don't register.
Yeah.
You're going to lose your money everywhere across the board.
That's the worst thing you can do, is not do it at all.
Right.
Because then because at a certain point, those are uncollectible. They go into this mysterious black box that,
it goes to Taylor Swift.
As you can imagine, goes right
probably does.
Right to someone that's making, all the money
going
anyways.
to the top of the food chain.
And now they're getting yours because you didn't register
the
correctly.
top of the food chain, that's how they get paid from all the little idiots.
It's going
out
to
there
Warner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So go register your shit.
Yeah. Go to ASCAP, go to BMI, go to Songtrust, opt into publishing administration. Or if you're not distributing, if you're just going to be a songwriter, then maybe Songtrust is the way to go. Not to be
Yeah.
pushing them as the holy grail, but they're just a good one for independent songwriters.
Yeah, it's effective. I've used it. I actually just recently canceled it, but because we have a bigger opportunity. But up until now, they've been great, and they've been collecting my money, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, and then once you have works that have either they're yours that are going out and making money, or you're landing stuff with labels and established artists, then it might be time to switch to something that's a little bit higher tier. But until then, just it's better to be registered than to not be registered at all.
And if you're an independent artist and you don't know how to do any of this, or you need any help, we actually have a link on our website for administration services. red13studios.com. It's a service we offer. We'd be happy to help. So reach out, click on the link, put your information in, and we'll be in contact with you. Because I think, a lot of artists get held up and they're not really sure. They don't understand copyrights. They don't understand the fact that, the two sides of songwriting and publishing. Why is there a songwriting split? Why is there a publishing split? And why is there two copyrights for the song itself and then for the recording? A lot of that's confusing, and we go over that with you during the service. Yeah, and we help you get it all done.
We could probably do a whole segment on just that.
Right. Yeah, we could do that. We'll do one. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is, A, write a fucking good song, and then B, register the thing.
Yeah, B, make sure you're going to get paid for it.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's a lot more to it after that.
Because I'll leave you with this. I got to a point where I landed my first cut on a big label release that ended up going and becoming a top 10 rock radio hit. And for fucking 2 years, I was like, how come I don't have any money? Yeah. And it was because I was not. I didn't have the correct registration. I wasn't. The label didn't know who I was because you got to, get your information to them. And that's if I had a publishing admin and I was registered correctly, then nothing. That would have never been a problem. But I went 2 years just kind of scratching my head like, am I supposed to do something? And the answer was yes. Mm-hmm. I was supposed to set myself up to be able to be paid on that. So I'll leave you with that. Important.
Right. I'll leave you with this.
Shout out to Dan Sassone.
Yeah, shout out to Dan.
Our little bitch-ass friend from New Jersey. Fuck you, Dan.
I think that you're absolutely right, but I used to get my royalty statements, and I know for a fact because I'd hear my band on the radio, and the royalty statements would have nothing to do with radio plays, but I could definitely see that I was being played in Spain, Japan, all around the globe, but not the radio station down the street that played it probably more than any. So I guess the bottom line is, even if you do things right, you've got to watch it. Right. You're gonna get fucked.
100%.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So
especially with YouTube now too, because people will take your song and put it in a video and put it out there, and if you have one of these administration companies that is looking out for that, if they don't pick up on it and you see it, you can now submit that and submit that link, and they'll go collect the money for that. So that's a big one. Especially if you get a song on some viral video that went on YouTube and it's got millions of views on it.
Yeah, or if someone takes your song and speeds it up and calls it Nightcore.
Yeah, exactly. They do that too, because then it tricks the recognition software, and they don't know it's that song until you submit it, and they go, shit, it's your song, just sped the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's got a billion fucking views on it.
Yeah, that's the hilarious part. Those things might get more views than your song on your own page.
All your songs on your page combined.
Yeah, for real.
Someone put one of our songs out like 10 years ago, calling it a Limp Bizkit song, and it had millions of views. And it was us.
Unreleased Limp Bizkit song.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
So it went.
That's a good tactic.
It was crazy. But the comments, luckily, we got slayed a little bit. Mostly people saying that it's not Limp Bizkit, but a lot of people liked it, so it turned out to be good. But
we should put the whole album out calling it Unreleased Limp Bizkit. We should do that this week and put the claims in and fucking see it go.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Strategy, people. Yeah. That's how you got to figure it out.
It's like putting your record out and going to and buying up all your own copies so you can get on the SoundScan.
I'm sure Fred Durst will love that. But yeah. Yeah, and so like Mark said, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. Hit up either ohnooctopus.com or red13studios.com and hit us up.
Awesome.
Keep creating.
Good podcast, boys.
Keep creating.
Write those songs.
All right.
Cool.
That was good.
Nice.
Later on, boys.